Tired of everyone telling you to find your passion, but no one telling you how? Welcome to the Korean Connection, and I'm your host, Korean, an attorney with a passion for empowering others to use their many talents and skills towards a path of self-discovery and alignment. Join me as I share my personal stories, professional insights, and practical tips, and how you can connect the dots between what you're great at and turning your passions into purpose. Let's connect. Push it to the left, make it go no more. Make it like no, I'm coming back home. I'm driving road all on my own. I'ma be the greatest, write my name in the stone. Write my name in the stone. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Write my name in the stone. Cause I'm coming back home. Cause I'm coming back home. Welcome back to the Korean Connection, guys. Thank you for joining me yet again. Today's episode, we're talking about remaining open. And it's remaining open to all the things that the universe has to offer you, that they have in store for you. And one of the things that I want you to keep in mind throughout this episode is that regardless of whatever it is that you believe in, if you believe in any sort of divine power, manifestation, the universe, God, Allah, whatever the case may be, if you know that there's someone, something that's out there working in your favor, why not be open to all those things that's already coming your way, right? But in order for the universe to reward you with those things, it requires something of you first, right? Because you are the one that's going to have to take those intentional steps to make those things come alive, right? And so what does it mean to remain open? Well, as you know, this is the Korean Connection. And one of the things that, I talked about on this episode is connecting with people, right? And we talked about during that episode in connecting with people, it requires you to be vulnerable. And it also requires you to be open, right? Open to making a connection with people. And you can revisit that episode to talk about the importance of making a connection. But now, after you've made connections or in making connections with people, it requires a sense of openness and vulnerability within you to allow information to come to you, right? You want to be in a space where, in putting your dreams out there, and, it also involves, and for the universe to reward you with those dreams, right? It takes some listening skills. You have to listen, but you also have to be open enough to share and to be vulnerable with people so that they can likewise be vulnerable with you. But you also have to listen to the things that the universe is going to give to you, because sometimes the universe is going to whisper. Sometimes the universe gives you what you need in just, a short little conversation, a discussion. It drops you a little pathway in an interaction with someone. And so if you're not open, but one, you know where your path is or what you kind of want to do, have an inkling as to something that you want to accomplish, but open your heart and your mind, knowing that the universe is literally conspiring to do those things for you. The universe literally wants to align you with your purpose. And in wanting to align you with your purpose, it's going to give you the people, it's going to give you the skills, it's going to give you the challenges, right? That you also need in order to align with your purpose. And you have to remain open for all of it, right? So one of the things that I do in my daily interactions with people in practicing remaining open to all the possibilities that the universe is willing to grant me is, one, being open to people, being open to connecting with people, learning about people. you kind of have to do a little bit of prying and digging on your own. There are times where the information may just come to you, you may overhear a conversation. You're like, oh, I didn't realize that you know how to do this, or you knew that person and can make that introduction, or you've been to this place before and I'm about to visit this place. Do you have any, recommendation? There's always ways in which you can, information will come to you, useful information will come to you, right? But the ultimate information that you want to come to you, the information that's going to ultimately align you to your purpose, sometimes it comes in stages. Sometimes it's not, a lot of times it's not going to come as a whole full meal, a complete package. You're going to get a little, the universe is going to give you only what you can handle, number one. So you may not even be in a place where you can handle everything that you're manifesting or that you're asking for, but you have to be open for the little nuggets that the universe is going to give you, right? And those nuggets may come in very different ways. And if you're not open to them, then you might miss it, right? The universe is not going to give you everything that you desire as a full meal, right? It's going to give you breadcrumbs. It's going to give you breadcrumbs in the way of small interactions, in small conversations, in like a little coincidence, the universe, gives you those little breadcrumbs. And it's up to you to, one, listen out for it, recognize that you're getting a breadcrumb, and then act on it, right? And one of the ways in which I tend to do this in my personal experiences, when I meet someone, I know what my ultimate life's goals are, what I want to do, and nobody knows them, right? No, unless I share them with them, no one is going to know. So when people are talking to you, they don't necessarily know what's going to resonate with you personally, right? On an intimate level. And so if someone says something to you, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to know off the hand that is going to mean something. For instance, if I'm talking to someone and I say, they say I'm a drummer, right? And a follow-up question to that, it would be, well, how did you even come to become a drummer? And in them sort of detailing their experience as to how they came to this path in their life, it's an opportunity for me to get to know them a little bit deeper. But oftentimes, and find commonalities in their stories, but oftentimes you'll realize that there is something in that person's journey that resonates with you right now in yours, right? And that's a nugget that you can take from just their own past experience that's now going to be helping you in your future, right? Because people experience things at a different time, overcome things at different times. And so in just learning that little nugget or getting that little breadcrumb from that person, now you have an opportunity to figure out how you can strategically interplay that into your goals, into your lifestyle, right? Is that something that I need to accomplish? Is that something that will help propel me further towards something that I'm trying to accomplish, right? It gives you those opportunities, but if you wouldn't have gotten those opportunities if you didn't dig deeper in the conversation. So one of the things that one of the tactics that I use in getting those gems from people is asking follow-up questions. If you're engaging in a conversation with someone, engage, right? Don't just have someone just continue to ramble things off, and before you know it, they're talking for 10 minutes and you haven't interjected at all. One, it doesn't showcase, one, it's not a conversation, right? Is that person sort of venting to you? And sometimes that happens too, right? But if you're having a conversation with someone, it should be a two-way street. So you want it to be interactive. You want to provide feedback. You want to dig a little bit deeper. You want to give that person pause. If it's something that someone is struggling with, you want to be able to give them some sort of alternative way of thinking or something of that nature. So you have to engage in the conversation. So one of the ways in which you can intentionally remain open and listen out for those nuggets that the universe is going to give you is to ask follow-up questions, right? Because remember, guys, the universe is always going to give you what you need. And any interaction you have with people, regardless of how small or how meaningless you think that interaction may be, everything or everyone serves a purpose. There's something you can take out of a very small interaction, right? If you're intentional about it. So that's one thing you can do, is to ask follow-up questions. One of the other things that people often tend not to do in just the quest of trying to remain open and be open for what the universe is going to give you, the universe can't give you what you haven't said out loud, right? The universe wants you to say the thing that you want. And I guess it's in the same realm of, you talking about manifesting what you want or manifesting your dreams. You have to say it out loud. And so in being intentional about remaining opening and listening for those nuggets or breadcrumbs, I'm very outspoken about my goals. I'm very outspoken about my past. I'm very outspoken about my way of thinking. I'm very outspoken about my opinions, right? And so when you do that, it allows people to, one, be able to add on to that, themselves ask follow-up questions of you. But when you say the thing that you want to have happen, in essence, you're telling the universe to bring someone in my path that's going to allow me to propel that desire a little bit further, right? And how often does that happen to you, right? They say, there's a saying that coincidences is God's way of remaining anonymous. And I think that saying is so powerful because there really coincidences, right? When you really think about them, if they happen that often, are they really coincidences? When you think of something and you say something to someone and then it just mysteriously materializes. Now, you can, your belief system is that allows you to know that that's something that happens in real life. Accept that, embrace that, whatever you want to call it, but that's what it is. When you speak it into existence, and there are power in your words. And not only that, when you say it out loud, it allows someone else to hear it. It allows someone else to respond to it. Now, they can do one of two things. They can either not have anything to add, and maybe that wasn't the person that needed to hear that information, or they add something and drop a nugget or a breadcrumb that you can latch onto to help propel you further along where you ultimately want to be. So definitely one of the ways in which you can remain open is not only engaging in conversation and asking follow-up questions, but certainly you also want to share your desires. What is it that you want, right? Because, when you talk about the things that you want, the person may not ultimately be able to help you with the end result or get you to the end goal, right? But, the person, for instance, it's me talking about just a mere fact of me talking about starting a podcast and I had to become comfortable with verbalizing that as well. And now that I'm in a space where I am verbalizing that to almost everybody that I meet, I'm finding more people who, one, wants to do the same, or is in the process of starting their journey. I might find that I am the one in the position to assist that person along their path and give them the breadcrumbs they need in order to propel them a little bit further just in that space. But there may be a way in which that person doesn't even realize. It may just even be, giving me my next topic for my next episode from a conversation, right? That happens so often, right? Content is created, oftentimes inadvertently. And so, there's always purpose to the interaction. There's always something that you can gain from it. So in having those conversations with people, definitely try to embrace the fact that perhaps there's no coincidence in it all, right? That's just the universe giving you what you articulated that you needed. In that vein, guys, I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you right now. And this is something that I'm also going to do for myself because I've never actually put the pen to paper because I know it's a proven system that works. But I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this challenge with you where I'm going to write down all the things that, one, I'm going to say out loud the things that I want. And then every week, I'm going to write down all the things that are quote unquote coincidences, right? That happens that propels me further towards that goal. And I bet you're going to find that after doing this challenge for a while, you're going to start to see a pattern, right? You're going to start to see a pattern that when you verbalize the things that you want, somehow, in some way, shape, or form, they're going to materialize. So write them down. And at the end of the week or at the end of the month, I want you to go back and see what nuggets, what breadcrumbs did you get that led you to that ultimate end result, right? What was it that you thought of earlier that week just so happened coincidentally, right? Just happened to have happened, right? And I think that's going to teach you is that you need to be a lot more intentional in your words, in the things you say, in your communication with people. And that invites people to do the same with you. And when you are that open to the universe has no choice but to just reward you with the things that you're seeking. One of the coincidences that I want to share with you is the coincidence of how I even met my engineer, and my children were, I just came up with the thought of doing this podcast, and I had no idea how I was going to go about it. I started buying my little mic from Amazon, and I bought a little light ring. And a lot of people were talking about you don't necessarily need a lot of high quality equipment. Your phone is just enough. Just start. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to start. And I had plans to do this in my office, in my downstairs, my basement. And so I started just thinking about doing this thing, I just started talking about it. Just started saying it out loud. I want to start a podcast. Before it wasn't a podcast, it was just to do a YouTube channel. And then I started talking about podcasts. And I was getting so frustrated with the whole process and living in YouTube University, And so I was just like, I need to find somebody who's going to be able to make this process more efficient for me. I need to find someone who can, help me navigate this whole experience. And unrelated to just that thought, my son had an event in White Plains. It was an aviation expo. And I thought it was it would be a good event for him to kind of go, just to get out of the house on a Saturday to do something educational. You know how hard it is to rip these kids away from gaming and all these digital platforms. But I decided to take him to this event. And trust me, he did not go willingly. It was basically kicking and screaming. They didn't want to go. And I was just like, no, I made up my mind. We're going to go and do this thing. And in going to this event, I'm there and they have, robotic dogs, and they have different airlines, and they have flight simulations, and, of course, because his children, they had like, they were playing music. And I looked over to where they were playing music. And guess what was there? The person where the music was coming from had a whole podcast studio advertising, what do you call it? Banner up, right? And I'm like, what the hell is this podcast banner doing up at this aviation expo? Absolutely no correlation, right? So I walk over to them. In my mind, like the first thought that came to my mind when I had that thought, like, why is this person here? I was like, he's here for me. Because there's really no other reason why, I dragged my kids kicking and screaming to this event that I myself wasn't necessarily so into going. I could have easily decided to stay home and do something with my Saturday morning, right? But I decided to go, and in deciding to go, randomly, this guy who does podcasting is like sitting over there playing music on, for the event. And naturally, I'm like, well, nothing is here for me. This is here for me. I'm walking over to the table because clearly he's here for me. And I walked over to the table and I, introduced myself. And I'm like, I literally said to him, like, what are you doing here? But for me, because this is what's been on my mind in recent weeks. And he's just like, tell me that this is something that he does. It's a service he provides. And guess what, guys? He literally does everything that I said I wanted somebody to do for me. He had my, this is free advertisement for Cry Visions. But he literally has a studio. So he has the professional setting already set up. He has the recordings. I don't have to do the editing. He does everything for me, guys. And in a one-stop shop. And not only that, like, we hit it off. Like, the vibe was just so organic that I'm going to tell you that I started this venture with my engineer days afterwards. Days. When I went to see him just to introduce myself and to come, he invited me to come and take a look at the studio just to see if I wanted to, use him as a service. I recorded my intro and my outro that day. The vibe, the synergy, it was just like he was literally there for me. And there's no one that can tell me that the universe didn't plant him there for us to meet. And, the rest is history, right? Our relationship is beautiful. And, I'm here now able to do this in such a effortless way, because I can tell you right now, if I were to do this on my own, like how I had planned to do it before I told the universe what I needed, it would definitely wouldn't be this. It wouldn't be this quality. It would be probably in my thoughts and on my to-do list for way longer than it stayed on my to-do list. I was able to materialize starting this podcast and dropping my first episode within 3 weeks of meeting my guy, right? And he's my guy, forever my guy, because the universe gave him to me. And and it's beautiful. And, just think about just one small decision to just lay in bed that day would have cost me this whole experience, right? And because I was open enough to go and push myself past the reluctancy of not wanting to go, because I went, I was able to realize that his purpose in being there was to meet me. I don't think he met any other podcasters that day. I became his client that day. He was literally there for me. And like I said, had I not met him that day, I don't think I would be here with you guys. I would probably still be YouTubing stuff, figuring out how to edit my own stuff. And, it would have been such a frustrating process. And guess what, guys? The part of this that I love, which is just to dress up and be cute and come and talk to you guys, that is all I have to do, because he literally takes all the not so fun things out of it for me. And that in and of itself is going to create such longevity in me wanting to continue to come and see you guys every week, because I get to do the things that's fun for me, right? And the universe gave that to me, and I'm eternally grateful. So Claudio, how was that interaction for you? I'm curious to know your take on it.
Well, hello, and hello to the viewers. So for me, it's funny because what you're talking about relates a ton with me, right? And that day leading up to that event, it's not something that I particularly wanted to do. It's I got hired to do a very small portion of it. It's not what I'm trying to do. My business is this, the podcast, the studio, that kind of stuff. So I was kind of looking into it like, oh, I have to go do this. I made a commitment. Did I really want to do it? Not really. Would I have much rather stayed at home and watch the soccer game that was on that morning? Yes. But I said I made a commitment. I'm going to go. And I went. And in being there, it's ironic because it's something that's nothing related to what I'm doing. So when you came up to me and you asked me about the podcast, I was like, am I in the right place? Does somebody send them over just to give me some conversation? So I got really stuck in that like confused state of like, is this really happening? And I mean, long story short, you kind of already went into the story. It's been an amazing journey thus far. But it all came from me taking that step and saying, just I made a commitment, just go, put your best foot forward and smile.
Yeah.
And just be open. And I think that's kind of what you're saying, just be open. And in being open, the universe puts you right in front of me. And I think the rest has been that. It's been amazing. It's been an amazing experience with you, getting to know you, getting to get this thing started with you for your podcast. And it's something that, again, to go back to last episode, I started journaling some time ago, and it has changed a lot of how things happen around me. One of the things I do in my journal is kind of like I say what's going to make this day a great day. And most days I'll write down, I want to meet somebody new that's going to hopefully go in the direction of my business.
Yeah.
And that morning was one of those mornings.
Wow.
So writing it down, journaling it, and then just being in that moment, being open to the conversation. And little do you know that now,
Look at how the universe was conspiring on so many different ways, right? And all it took was just to push past the uncomfortable feeling of not wanting to do the thing. And so, guys, that's just one example of so many examples of how just speaking it out loud, the universe will just give it to me. And I mean, I can go into all the other things that just have flowed from just that interaction or relationship outside of just him being my engineer. I mean, so many things have blossomed from just meeting him as a person. Endless. So guys, the possibilities are limitless in terms of where those interactions, those connections, just being in an open space can bring to your life the joy, the sense of fulfillment, sense of connection and connectiveness that it can bring to you. It's so rewarding. And so, it doesn't serve you to be closed off. And, in Jamaica, there's a famous saying that they say, closed mouths don't get fed, right? You can't eat if your mouth is closed. So you have to open your mouth to say that you're hungry and to put food in your mouth in order to be full. So speak it into existence, guys, and the universe have you. The universe is conspiring more in your favor than against you. And all the little things that you have to do in order to be intentional, to just be on your path so the universe can give you what's already in your path, just do it. Just do it. And take those intentional steps. So as a recap, what I want, how to remain open is one, engage in conversations and ask follow-up questions. Two, do that thing that is fearful to you, because you never know where it's going to lead you, right? And it might just be that one thing you need to do to be on your path, to be aligned on your path so the universe can do its work, right? And the third thing is just knowing and trusting that, like I said, coincidences are God's way of staying anonymous. So journal the coincidences, and then through journaling the coincidences, you will be able to see the pattern that your words are powerful, and you will see that you're more of a manifester than you think you are, right? And the manifestation really is just you doing that thing that's going to allow the universe to set you further along your path and connecting your passions to purpose. See you next time on the Korean Connection. Let's connect. Thank you guys for connecting with me today. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe to my channel, The Korean Connection. To connect with me, you can email me at thekoreanconnection@gmail.com. And don't forget that sometimes your passion whispers before it roars. And if you're listening closely, the next episode might be where it gets louder. Let's connect. Push it to the